Welcome, boxing fans, to another edition of Boxing Around the Globe, exclusively on the Ringside Network, your ringside seat. I'm your host, Rich Quinones, and thanks so much for joining us. We are so happy to be able to be back in studio talking some boxing. We have a jam-packed show. Kharisma Mcilwaine will join us in a little bit. We'll get her thoughts on what's going on with female boxing, and I'm going to ask Kharisma, are we going to finally get to see Wilder and Fury 3? That should be a great segment. Don't forget, too, later on in the program, our boxing expert, Alex Hamer, he's going to join us as him and I kind of go back and forth between rounds, and we break down Lopez and Lomachenko. That's slated for October 17th. We'll close it out with Alex's famous and sometimes controversial Top 10 that's presented by the aforementioned Ringside Network. So with that being said, let's get it underway. Our opening bell. Well, if you haven't seen boxing in a while, let alone sports, you know why. It's the COVID-19. We all had to deal with it. The pandemic halted all sports in the U.S. in March. From March until June, boxing took an 8 count but refused to be counted out. The boxing gods immediately went back to the drawing board to come up with some concrete solutions to a real problem. In walks Top Rank. They submit a 20-page proposal to the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The plan included all types of safety measures to protect the fighters and their trainers, which is a smart idea. The infamous bubble at the MGM Grand Center was created where all the fighters can be quarantined to make sure they were COVID-19 free before stepping back into the ring and giving the fans what we crave, some action. But no fans were allowed in the arena. We had to watch on TV. No press allowed. They had to do their due diligence and really watch and research and write up on these fights. And if you go back to June 9th, the first fight in the bubble was Newark's Shakur Stevenson, who scored a scintillating, dominating 6-round knockout over Felix Caraballo. One of the boxers, we don't know who, told the Ringside Network that fighting in the bubble was almost like sparring, and it was something that a fighter would have to get used to. Looks like we're going to have to get used to this controlled environment, as well as the fighters and the fans, at least until the end of the year. All right, so one round is in the books. Keep it locked in here to Boxing Around the Globe right here on the Ringside Network. We're going to step aside. When we come back, our boxing expert, the knowledgeable Kharisma Mcilwaine, will give us a little insight on Fury and Wilder. Are we going to get them for the third time? We're going to talk a little female boxing with her as well. And as always, get social with us on Twitter at RSN_TV, hashtag Boxing Around the Globe. Because when we talk to Alex a little later on in the program, you are definitely want to go and have a little fun with him on social media when he presents his top 10 as we close out another edition of Boxing Around the Globe. Lace him up. We'll step aside. We'll come back right after this.
Let Ed Sr. and his staff at Samson Motors show you how easy it is to buy a quality used car in Philadelphia. Samson Motors believes in fair prices, superior service, and treating you right. Their knowledgeable staff is there for you. Credit issues? Not at Samson Motors. Let Marcus from their finance department help you. Call Marcus at 215-288-6050. That's 215-288-6050. You can find Samson Motors in the Great Northeast at 6221 Harbinson Avenue in Philadelphia. Check out their large pre-owned inventory anytime at SamsonMotorsPhilly.com.
My name is Dan Gattuso, owner of Dry Guys Basement Systems. We cover all of southern New Jersey and southeast Pennsylvania. One of our biggest parts of our industry is basement and crawl space waterproofing. We offer things that nobody in that industry can. There's a lot of patented products we use that actually allows you to straighten your walls even over time. If you have a bowed wall, we can straighten it out for you. We're not afraid to stand behind products we know are the best in the industry.
Welcome back, boxing fans, to this edition of Boxing Around the Globe, exclusively on the Ringside Network. And, of course, your ringside seat. I'm your host, Rich Quinones. Thanks for taking a ride with us through the opening round. My goodness, you know, the show always has this phonetical fast pace, and that's okay. That's the way we like it, just like heavyweights. And to talk a little bit about some heavyweights, Wilder Fury, are we going to get that third bout? We have to bring in our boxing expert, Kharisma Mcilwaine. And Kharisma, I'll tell you, you talk about Wilder and you talk about Fury. This is a fight I know you want to see. Kharisma, I know I want to see this. What's the latest on this one?
Well, you want to see it. I want to see it. The fans have been waiting for it. You might have to wait a little bit longer, though. The rematch that every fan has been anticipating, Fury vs. Wilder 3, was planned initially for July 18th, and because of COVID, it was postponed until October 3rd. Now fans and we have to wait yet again because now the rematch is planned for December 19th. The anticipated venue is the new Raiders home, the Allegiant Stadium, and that stadium holds 65,000 people. So packing in 15 to 20,000 people should handle the social distancing problems. Bob Arum, the president of Top Rank, said the fight has received offers from Macau in China and venues in Australia. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But what are your thoughts, Rich?
I'm not a patient man. I need to see these two go at it. We've been waiting so long for some boxing, and I know later on we're also going to talk a little female boxing, which I'm sure you're excited of. But listen, tell the viewers what we have in store as the show progresses.
Well, fans, don't go anywhere because just after the next segment, we're going to have boxing expert Alex Hamer come and talk his pound for pound top 10. It's going to be controversial, but that's what we like here in boxing because we like to fight. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Ringside Network and Boxing Around the Globe right after this.
Let Ed Sr. and his staff at Samson Motors show you how easy it is to buy a quality used car in Philadelphia. Samson Motors believes in fair prices, superior service, and treating you right. Their knowledgeable staff is there for you. Credit issues? Not at Samson Motors. Let Marcus from their finance department help you. Call Marcus at 215-288-6050. That's 215-288-6050. You can find Samson Motors in the Great Northeast at 6221 Harbinson Avenue in Philadelphia. Check out their large pre-owned inventory anytime at SamsonMotorsPhilly.com.
Welcome back to this edition of Boxing Around the Globe, exclusively on the Ringside Network. Rich Quinones here. Thanks for joining us. And I'm telling you, as this show is starting to speed up in the middle rounds, we can't wait to get to some of the late rounds. But before we do that, we'll throw it back over to our boxing expert, Kharisma, and we're talking a little bit about the female fighters. You teased it wonderfully going into the break. Jessica McCaskill, Cecilia Brakehouse. That was a heck of a fight between these two.
Thanks, Rich. As you know, I love talking about the ladies of boxing. Cecilia Brakehouse, known affectionately as the First Lady of Boxing, lost a close majority decision to investment banker turned boxer Jessica McCaskill. At the end of the fight, Brakehouse indicated that she might retire. Cecilia suffered her first loss in 11 years as a professional fighter. McCaskill, on the other hand, only has 10 professional fights. The fight was a hard-fought welterweight contest between the two women, and even though Ringside Network had scored in favor of Brakehouse, the decision really could have gone either way. In confirming the rematch, Brakehouse told RSN she thought she did not fight at 100%, and she didn't want to go out on a career worst performance. She felt she owed it to her fans all over the world. I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for her to retire. What do you think?
Listen, I think to each his own. We can't tell these fighters when to give up the sport, but I'm telling you, how about female boxing over the last 3, 4, 5 years? I mean, there are so many great notable female fighters to really watch and to follow, especially on social media.
So who are some of your favorite female boxers?
It's an excellent, that's a body shot question. Caught me off guard on that one. Listen, Amanda, the Serrano sisters, Heather Hardy, who made the transition from boxing to MMA, Christina Cruz, who grew up in Hell's Kitchen, was a storied amateur boxer on the New York boxing scene. And then we have to pay homage to the Mia St. Johns and the Maureen O'Shea's of the world, the $1 million babies. So, but I tend to agree with you. You know, at times you hate to see some of these fighters retire, but sometimes it is also in their best interest.
I guess we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, we're going to have to fingers crossed on that one, but I'm telling you, keep it locked in with a lot of these female fighters. They're doing a heck of a job. Excellent segment, Kharisma. We appreciate it. All right, so listen, as we start rolling along, we got to remind you guys to get social with us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at @RSN_TV. And the reason you're going to have to do that, and hashtag Boxing Around the Globe, because later on in the program, Kharisma already made mention of it before, Alex Hamer is going to give us his pound for pound top 10 Ringside Network list. And you guys are going to want to hashtag Boxing Around the Globe. You're going to want to hashtag the Ringside Network. You're going to want to hashtag, you can hashtag Alex Hamer. It doesn't matter, because I know it's going to be a controversial list. We're going to step aside. When we come back, I'm going to give you a little insight on a little segment, a little drama going on between some of the media, some of the networks, some of the CEOs. We like to title that one, The Hatfield and McCoy's Boxing Around the Globe continues right after this.
My name is Dan Gattuso, owner of Dry Guys Basement Systems. We cover all of southern New Jersey and southeast Pennsylvania. One of our biggest parts of our industry is basement and crawl space waterproofing. We offer things that nobody in that industry can. There's a lot of patented products we use that actually allows you to straighten your walls even over time. If you have a bowed wall, we can straighten it out for you. We're not afraid to stand behind products we know are the best in the industry.
Let Ed Sr. and his staff at Samson Motors show you how easy it is to buy a quality used car in Philadelphia. Samson Motors believes in fair prices, superior service, and treating you right. Their knowledgeable staff is there for you. Credit issues? Not at Samson Motors. Let Marcus from their finance department help you. Call Marcus at 215-288-6050. That's 215-288-6050. You can find Samson Motors in the Great Northeast at 6221 Harbington Avenue in Philadelphia. Check out their large pre-owned inventory anytime at SamsonMotorsPhilly.com.
Welcome back, boxing fans, to this edition of Boxing Around the Globe, exclusively on the Ringside Network, your ringside seat. Rich Quinones here, back in the saddle. And, you know, as we start to really get into the show, we got to remind you, we'll close it out with a preview of Lopez and Lomachenko. And then, of course, Alex is going to provide his Ringside Network top 10 pound-for-pound list. But we always love, who doesn't love a good feud? Who doesn't love a little controversy? Well, we got one for you this time with the media and some CEOs and some fighters alike. A feud recently erupted between Ring Magazine and Showtime. Ring Magazine editor Doug Fisher, oh, you gotta love Doug Fisher's Dougie's Daily Mailbag, if you will. He does every month, always stirs the pot. He wrote an article indicating that Showtime, which is owned by CBS, lost money when it landed pay-per-view king Floyd Mayweather's 7-fight mega deal almost a decade ago. We're still arguing about this stuff. The barbs immediately started flying in Twitter because, hey, it's social media, and they started to go back and forth. Showtime executive Stephen Espinoza and the Mayweather camp, they came out swinging. They were down, but they got back up. And of course, who led the charge? Leonard Ellaby, the president of Mayweather Promotions. He said the numbers, they don't lie. He released a figure showing that in 7 fights, Mayweather sold 14,415,000 pay-per-view buys. Oh my God, I got to look again to see that. The revenue generated 7 fights, $1,306 million. So just absorb that number for a second. Unbelievable. Do not expect this feud to stop anytime soon. This is the power of social media. And I think at the end of the day, Floyd, he still wants to remain the king of pay-per-view. Well, we're the king, if we like to think so, when it comes to the inside track on everything that's going on in the world of boxing. So keep it locked in, because when we come back, our boxing expert, Alex Hamer, will break down an exclusive with Alex. He'll break down Lopez, Lomachenko, October 17th. Belts on the line, careers on the line, money on the line. We're going to get his thoughts as Boxing Around the Globe continues right here on the Ringside Network, your ringside seat.
Let Ed Sr. and his staff at Samson Motors show you how easy it is to buy a quality used car in Philadelphia. Samson Motors believes in fair prices, superior service, and treating you right. Their knowledgeable staff is there for you. Credit issues? Not at Samson Motors. Let Marcus from their finance department help you. Call Marcus at 215-288-6050. That's 215-288-6050. You can find Samson Motors in the Great Northeast at 6221 Harbington Avenue in Philadelphia. Check out their large pre-owned inventory anytime at SamsonMotorsPhilly.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Boxing Around the Globe, exclusively on the Ringside Network. Rich Quinones here again. And as we start to look ahead to the boxing calendar, we're happy about this next fight coming up October 17th, Vasily Lomachenko against Teofimo Lopez. A lot of belts on the line, and help us handicap it, break it down from an analyst standpoint, our boxing expert, Alex Hamer. And Alex, it's great for you to join us on this edition of Boxing Around the Globe. And this is going to be a heck of a fight October 17th.
Absolutely, Rich. And we are looking forward to October 17th out in Las Vegas at the MGM Conference Center. Bob Arum indicated from Top Rank that there will be fans in attendance, but most importantly, the press will be allowed to attend, and we hope to be among them. But let's get to the fight. Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko. This is so interesting. The records, respectively, are Vasily Lomachenko is 14-1. Teofimo Lopez is 15-0. But don't let the records fool you, okay? Not a lot of fights, but let me talk about Lomachenko first. The Russian won 2 consecutive gold medals in 2008 Olympics and the 2012 Olympics. He had 400 amateur fights. Let me repeat that. 400 amateur fights, and his record was 399-1. He fought 400 times and only lost 1 fight. His nickname is High Tech, okay? And he's truly a genius in the ring and a sight to behold. Let me talk about the new kid on the block, Lopez. He has all the swagger that you want to see, okay? He's boisterous, he's good, and he's strong. He hits like a bull, and he comes to fight. So this, I see, is my candidate fight of the year. I expect no less out in Las Vegas, Rich, for the bombs to flow on October 17th in Las Vegas with Vasily Lomachenko, the Russian gold medalist, versus the upstart Teofimo Lopez.
And you mentioned when Lomachenko, the Ukrainian southpaw, as you mentioned and indicate his record 14-1. They both have knockout power between them, 22 combined in their careers. Lomachenko suffers an early loss in his career to Salido, but now he's ripped off 13. And I like what you said about Lopez. Here's a kid where we always want to crown the next boxer, the next fighter, but this is a major step up in class, if you will. And we always talk about some styles. Do you see this fight, Lomachenko trying to break him down early on, going for the knockout, or Lopez try to feel him out a little bit early on?
That's an excellent question, Rich. I don't see Lomachenko necessarily trying to feel him out. I think they're going to come, and see what everyone has in the beginning. They're coming to test each other out. As they say in the boxing world, I'm trying to see you, okay? And they're going to come early and test the waters. Let me give you an example. When Lopez won his title from the kid from Ghana, he came right out in the first ring, no feeling out. He came out to test him, and that's what he did, and I think that's what he'll do to Vasily Lomachenko as well.
Yeah, IBF, WBO titles on the line. And again, not a bad payday, $2 million for Lopez, 2.7 for Lomachenko. So, the incentive is right there with the purse per se, but it is going to be highlighted as a marquee fight to get boxing back.
This is a marquee fight. The strange thing is going to be shown on ESPN rather than pay-per-view because of the climate, the COVID-19. It's going to be on ESPN and not pay-per-view. So millions more people, Rich, will get to see this fight as it comes down on October 17th.
All right, excellent breakdown. Don't go anywhere. We're going to need you in a little bit when we come back. We're going to step aside. Great segment, as always, with Alex Hamer. When we come back, Alex will present the Ringside Network, his top 10. These are his top 10. So you know what? If you guys disagree with him, you can get on him on social media, and you know what? He'll respond, and he'll tell you exactly why he chose the Ringside Network's pound for pound top 10. Keep it locked in as we close out another edition of Boxing Around the Globe right after this.
Let Ed Sr. and his staff at Samson Motors show you how easy it is to buy a quality used car in Philadelphia. Samson Motors believes in fair prices, superior service, and treating you right. Their knowledgeable staff is there for you. Credit issues? Not at Samson Motors. Let Marcus from their finance department help you. Call Marcus at 215-288-6050. That's 215-288-6050. You can find Samson Motors in the Great Northeast at 6221 Harbinson Avenue in Philadelphia. Check out their large pre-owned inventory anytime at SamsonMotorsPhilly.com.
Welcome back, boxing fans, and this is our final round, the final bell, if you will, for this edition of Boxing Around the Globe. Thanks again for keeping us locked in. Rich Quinones here, and we always try to go out with a bang, a liver shot, if you will, a body shot, and we typically like to do it in this fashion as we welcome in our boxing expert, Alex Hamer, with his always controversial, sometimes, what are you thinking, Alex, your top 10, the Ringside Network, top 10 pound for pound, and I'm telling you guys right now, you can get on Twitter and go back and forth. You can always follow us on social media at Ringside Network. So it's pretty easy. At RSN_TV to argue, to debate, and maybe for once agree with Alex in his top 10.
Thanks, Rich. The top 10 is very, very unique this time because of the environment that we find ourselves in. But let me get started. My number 10, Gervonta Davis. Tank is going to fight Leo Santa Cruz soon, and he's going to prove that he belongs in the top 10. So number 10, I have Gervonta Davis. Number 9, Anthony Joshua from Europe. I know Anthony lost to Ruiz, but he came back and he knocked Ruiz out. So my number 9 is Anthony Joshua. Number 8, Leo Santa Cruz. Leo, like I just said, is coming to fight Gervonta Davis, and the winner of that fight may indeed knock out the loser out of the top 10. My number 7 is Manny Pacquiao. How can you leave Manny out? You know, I'm prejudiced because of the body of work, but you have to take it into consideration. You can't leave it out. My number 6 is Naoya Inoue from Japan. He's the bantamweight champion right now, multiple weight divisions, WBC, WBA. You can't leave him out. He travels and he can fight. Number 5, Deontay Wilder, okay? We know he lost to Tyson Fury, but you can't knock him out of the top 10 based on one fight. He should be in the top 10. Let's not forget, again, I hate to use the word, but body of work. He knocked out everybody you put in front of him, and now that he's lost one, you know, and tied one, of course, he should still remain in the top 10. My next fighter is Terrence Crawford. I gotta put Bud in because he's just great. Before he moved up to 147 to the welterweight, he was a junior welterweight, and if you recall, like I do, he held all 4 belts, the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO belt at 140. Name somebody who can do that, can say, I have all 4 belts. Bud did it. He wiped out the junior welterweight division and then moved up to 147. Okay, my number 3 is Tyson Fury, okay? Tyson Fury moves up because he came to America and he saw and he conquered. Back on February 22nd, everybody remembers what happened, and I think, as we reported earlier, that they're going to fight again, hopefully in December, at that new beautiful stadium that the Raiders play football in right now. My number 2 is Vasyl Lomachenko. We already indicated that that fight is going to be with Lopez, my candidate for Fight of the Year. So Vasyl Lomachenko I have as number 2. Now, drum roll, number 1, Canelo Alvarez. No, his lawyer didn't call me up and say, you better put him in there or he'll sue me like he's suing Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy and DAZN. But here's my pick for number 1. Canelo was a no-brainer to me. His last fight, Canelo went up from 106 60 pounds to 175 pounds, all the way up to light heavyweight division, and knocked out Sergey Kovalev, the hard-hitting Russian, which placed him pound for pound as my #1 boxer for this segment. Okay, Rich?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm okay with this. I mean, there's always something in there where we can go back and forth and dispute. I mean, look, if Earl Spence doesn't have his accident, you have Garcia's out there, multiple Garcias out there, and Danny and Mikey. You know, Pacquiao, maybe it's a little sentiment, but I like the fact that you said the body of work. You know, heavyweights, we're starting to see them climb up a little bit, and the Gypsy King, I like his placement. Canelo, let's see what transpires down the road with Canelo and how these fights are going to shape out.
I think that's an excellent point, you know, Rich. I love Errol Spence, you know, but for that accident, he would have been in my top 10 because he probably would have had a couple more fights. I love Mikey Garcia. Mikey is fearless. He'll fight anyone. So after a couple of fights, we'll see how the top 10 shakes out again, but this is how we have it for now.
And that's the operative word, for now, because we started the show as we start to come full circle with the pandemic, and I know we're still dealing with it, but it's great to be back talking boxing with you, Alex. Excellent job with the Ringside Network Top 10, the pound for pound, and of course, don't forget, you can always follow us on social media. You can tweet at us. We'll post everything out there at RSN_TV, and if you're just new to the program, again, this is Boxing Around the Globe, your exclusivity, if you will, when it comes to the world of boxing 24/7. We break down the fights. We have analysts, experts, top 10 list that you guys, we call it bar talk. You guys can argue when you're out and about with your friends watching some of these fights on our network, by the way. Classic fights, if you will. Black and white fights when boxing was really in its heyday. I mean, just stick a little transistor radio next to me the next time we can listen to some of these old school fights. And we always try to give you a little bit of an edge with some passion, some entertainment, some insight and knowledge. And that's why you have to keep it locked into the Ringside Network TV and, of course, Boxing Around the Globe. For Kharisma Mcilwaine, for Alex Hamer, I'm Rich Quinones. We appreciate you guys joining us for this edition of Boxing Around the Globe. And as always, we'll see you next time ringside.
Let Ed Sr. and his staff at Samson Motors show you how easy it is to buy a quality used car in Philadelphia. Samson Motors believes in fair prices, superior service, and treating you right. Their knowledgeable staff is there for you. Credit issues? Not at Samson Motors. Let Marcus from their finance department help you. Call Marcus at 215-288-6050. That's 215-288-6050. You can find Samson Motors in the great Northeast at 6221 Harbinson Avenue in Philadelphia. Check out their large pre-owned inventory anytime at SamsonMotorsPhilly.com.